I was like talking on top of you.
Very good. So welcome to the No Eggs podcast / No Egg podcast. Here we have, dude, we just got tons and tons of guests for you guys. So we have a very special guest, Sheng Elizabeth. Go ahead and tell us.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, introduce yourself a little bit. We were just talking on the pod, and we were saying, I was saying how like I'm not 100% sure what you do, and you had said that
I have
same
no
thing.
idea
Yeah.
either.
So what's one of many things that you do, or what's all the things that you do?
Yeah.
I like so much. I think that's what's really challenging is sometimes people like to fit me in a box. I was just telling you this. Like, I do know that I'm really passionate about arts and activism. I work
Yeah.
really hard. You and I met at a collaborators, creatives hangout, and I
Yeah.
was going off on my activism work. But I care so much about people. I think that's like what it is at the end of the day. I'm an extrovert. I love picking people's brains. I think brains are the most like attractive things about people is like learning how they see the world. And so I think like at the end of the day, that's what I'm about is just people. But my platform is elevating marginalized people in the arts and activism space. So I do a lot with musicians and artists. But then I also work a lot in like the political activism field too. And kind of just a little bit of everything. I'm a huge generalist.
Yeah.
I just like learning.
Yeah.
Like a forever student.
Well, I just feel like we need more of that in today's world, right? We got too many people just talking and not
Yeah.
enough people
Yeah.
like
Oh, I'm a
listening.
doer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm more of a
yeah.
talker. I mean, I do, but
No,
yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, that isn't like, yeah, you're right. It's absolutely important. Like, you need people like you who not only believe in stuff, because we all believe in stuff, but then
Right.
actually like carry through with actions to make the difference, because that is how it works. Like, there's no, you could hashtag as many things as you want,
Right.
Yeah.
but at a certain point you gotta go put that action down, to actually make a change towards something that you want to see change in the world, which I see you doing that like every weekend.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even weekdays,
day.
every day. Yeah.
We're about to do it tonight
Weekday,
too, right?
weekends.
Hell yeah. Well, I love that just because, because you recognize that you do have a voice and now you're using that to kind of give voice to like the marginalized group to a marginalized group or people that maybe tend to shy away from kind of voicing their own opinion. And I think that's very powerful and I think that's very important work for people like you to exist.
Thank you. I think it's like because you know how it feels like when you're silenced, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think growing up, I grew up in a family that was very conservative, incredibly, I don't know if I would say like super traditional, but like just very like strict. Like my parents are super strict. So I felt like I always had like this really big voice, but it was always internalized.
Yeah.
And my parents just they're product of trauma and war, right? So they just want the best for their kids. And
Right.
went through Catholic school. I think I've told this story a couple times, but like I just always felt like at home I had to be a certain template of a daughter or a Hmong girl, and then at school I had to be like a Catholic kind of whitewashed version of myself.
Right.
And I always felt like I didn't really know my voice, but I didn't really have like the opportunity to explore my voice and amplify it. And now that I have that ability, I talk a lot and I think I need to listen more, but I would love to be able to like provide that platform for others too, So that's really what my platform is all about. And when you ask me like what I do, it's like I kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like I am a producer. I really love producing shows. I love part of like the shows that I do is really always around BIPOC people or our home community and arts and creatives. Like I want to elevate them and I want to find opportunities where somebody who, one of my really good friends who just texted me, Vicky Yang, she has an incredible voice and incredible talent. And I want to be able to give her as much visibility as possible because she deserves that. And so I do that a lot with our Hmong community, but I also just care a lot about like just people who are traditionally, they don't have like the opportunities to show up the way that other people might be able to show up, whether they are privileged people or
Right.
white people. Or wealthy people, and I find ways. I am a doer. I can navigate through a lot of
Yeah.
really hard situations and find ways to make things work.
No, that's beautiful. And you had said growing up in a, you went to a Catholic school? Is
Yeah,
that here
my
in
whole
Minneapolis?
life. No, I grew up in Wausau,
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Shout
Okay.
out to Wausau.
Okay.
Yeah, Wausau, Wisconsin. So I went to Catholic school my whole life until the 10th grade, where I
Okay.
decided, like, I was the first child in my family that said, I want to go to public school. My mom's like, why? Because, like, my
Yeah.
3 older siblings, like, they did their, like, at the end of high school, you actually have to go on, like, a mission trip. And I wasn't interested in that.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to actually go and explore like, the real world.
Right.
Like, not like a bubble of a world,
Yeah.
you know, where everything seems really great. Like, I wanted to prepare myself for what the world was really going to be like. And so I had begged my mom to go to public school. And it was really hard for her, but she said, fine, if that's what you want to do, then that's what I will support. And it was really through public school that changed who I was as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I had access to people who looked like me, who spoke Hmong like me, because I never really spoke Hmong, only
Yeah.
at home. But even then, I was like embarrassed to do it, you know? And so going to public school changed my life. I had opportunities that like I don't think I would have had at a parochial school.
Right.
So
Why,
Yeah, like-
why Catholic school? Is that just why your parents?
they're just super religious.
Okay.
They still are.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they had thought traditionally was like when they came to America, right? They thought like the standard is to be mikado, like, and to
Right.
be wealthy. And so a lot of that was tied also to the religion.
Yep.
And so that's why. So all of us went to Catholic school, and I think also like it was their way of like making sure we weren't going to be like minyolai, you know, because
Yeah.
it's like what they thought we were going to be, which I ended up being one anyway. But yeah, that's why. So
Yeah, because like I feel like there are a lot of like Hmong kids like in like that are like uber religious, and then like a lot of Hmong kids like I have a cousin that went to a Catholic school and he went through the whole program. He definitely enjoyed it, but I think that's one of the things he said he missed out on was like he missed like he
the
felt
real
like he
interaction.
wasn't a part of like the
Yeah.
the real
Society
world, the world
outside
outside
of
of
it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and you do like kind of grow up in a bubble, but I feel like that way. I feel that way, just in my own sense, where it's like I felt like I grew up in the bubble, growing up in the inner city, like because when you grow up in the inner city, like that's all you see around
Yeah.
you, and so
Yeah.
then it's like created.
what was
this,
that experience like?
like?
Yeah, because you were in North Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Which is
I
as ghetto as it gets.
Yeah,
Really? Okay, I don't know.
unfortunately.
So
or you'll learn. You just moved here
Yeah,
to
North
the Twin Cities.
Minneapolis.
Oh, I'm gonna
You'll
learn real
about it.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, just take me down Broadway.
But like I didn't know that like I knew I was Hmong. I didn't understand what it meant to be a minority until I got out of the city.
really,
Like when I went to college, like I was like, oh, I'm only one of the 3 colored kids here. Where I was like, there was maybe 3 white kids in my graduating class.
Mm-hmm.
So like the term minority, like I always kind of like hated that, and I was like, oh, dude, why call it that?
Yeah, because
But, like,
there really wasn't a minority when you grew up in North Minneapolis.
yeah, because like when I grew up in
You're the
Minneapolis,
average.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
you're
dude,
the- Yeah.
we're the majority,
yeah.
and like I thought this is how the world worked.
Well,
Sure.
how many?
And then I got
Sure.
out of that, and I was like, I'm a minority.
Yeah,
Like
in your
yeah.
Catholic school, were there a lot of minorities as far as like races?
no.
Okay.
There wasn't, and that was exactly it. Like I think my identity, I thought was like the ultimate is to be like my friends. They
Yeah.
were very wealthy, like far beyond like the average, right? Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know, like and so I would often look at myself and I was always like the poor kid, like the kid that was not privileged, but yet like I was very well liked. Like I just I don't know, I think I just always kind of had like connections with people, and so I was very well liked and
Yeah.
stuff. But then even then I felt really like an outsider because I would go to their homes and I'm like, my parents don't have this. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're literally on food stamps and
Yeah.
reduced lunch. Like we don't
Yeah.
have this.
And it-
So I always thought like this is the ultimate. This is what you work for. So
Yeah.
I would often feel like so ashamed to like say that these are my parents and this is like where it came from. And I wanted to just adopt like the really whitewash culture. And then I think like I'm actually really grateful I went through that because
Yeah.
now I like realize how wrong that felt
Yeah.
back then even because I always felt like I was like an imposter, and now I feel like the most aligned and most authentic, you know, because I'm rediscovering my culture and
Yeah.
rediscovering who I am as a person and like learning about our culture. I don't know if you guys have just sat, I know you went on a trip with your family and like
Yeah,
explored
just
that,
recently,
right?
yeah.
I went with my family to Thailand and Laos, but I don't think I was like in a space
in the mindset to,
to like
discover.
really appreciate what it is. So my family and we are going back next February.
Nice.
Okay.
And we're really going to explore that. And I would love to learn more about your journey too, because now I'm in a headspace where I can take that in and like appreciate it more. Like that was like where they came from.
And I've heard that with different Hmong people too, like that go there as kids or teenagers or early adults. But like you said, it's about the headspace. So if you're going there because your parents are saying, "Hey, we're going to Laos,"
and they're telling you all these stories, it doesn't connect, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, you're still going to Laos, but it's not the same experience as when you say, "I'm going to go to Laos and I'm going to look at everything with like as if I was visualizing myself living here," right? Because that's really the lens that I took when I went there was like, let's just imagine I'm actually living here, what it would be like, and could I actually do it, you know? And yeah, I could. I mean, shit, it seemed pretty cool to me.
Because how old were you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say, like, how long were you there?
Oh, we were only there for like 16 days, so it was like extremely rushed.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you had, I know you shared that video too.
yeah,
I
we went
shared
to a
it as
couple
well.
places. We went to Luang Prabang and Vientiane and Longchang and shit, all over,
Like
a lot
all
of
the
places.
smaller villages
Yep,
too, like
yep.
the real deal stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Not
I mean,
just
I
the
think it's good if
touristy
you find it important. Like, I wouldn't say go to Laos for all Hmong people. Like, that's what I would want. But if you're not interested in that, then don't go. But if you're interested in like finding out what it feels like to be there, then by all means you should. I think that it rounds the whole experience together. I mean, it did for me, but some people don't care. It's all good.
And everyone's on their own journey.
Everybody's
right?
on their own path. So
It's almost like, man, I almost feel bad if
well, you're
you
a
don't
farmer,
care.
dude. You get along with them great.
Oh, dude, I would love it. I would love. Well, me and my wife, we went down to Thailand.
Oh, you did?
A long time ago, but it wasn't like we didn't go to the small villages. We did all the touristy stuff.
Oh, nice.
We did
That's
meet.
okay.
We did
I did
meet
that
like
too.
a bunch of like locals and stuff like that. And so but one of the best times I've had there was like meeting some local kids, and then another time was just like talking with like a local strawberry farmer down there. I think she was like trying to sell me her strawberry farm.
Yeah.
Because she probably thought I was some rich American, but I was like, no.
So you bought it, is what you said?
Yeah. So I actually own land in Thailand, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll go down there.
All right, sick.
Do you for real own it?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay. I was like, wait,
No,
hold on.
no way.
I don't get your
You
humor
probably
yet.
easily could.
No.
gosh.
But I wish there's not a day that goes past where I don't think about that. Where I'm like, man, I could have been farming strawberries in Thailand.
But hey, let me ask you. Let's go back to because I'm curious.
Okay.
I'm curious.
I'm ready.
Shoot, now I lost my train of thought. Oh no, this is my question. You went to Catholic school and you felt like you wanted to kind of go away from it, and you went to public school and you feel like you really found a new identity in yourself. Are you still very religious today?
I'm not at all religious.
Do you?
I'm very spiritual, but I don't identify with like like an organized religion at all. Yeah, maybe I'm still exploring.
Did you at that time? Or do you think it was just in the organization?
I think it was just because I thought that's what I had to do.
Okay.
But I will be really honest. I don't think I ever really fully like connected the dots.
Okay.
Like I don't think I ever felt like aligned. Like this is really who I am. I think it was just like I'll grow into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of a force. That's why I kept feeling like an imposter because it really truly wasn't who I was. So I had like all these identities where I felt like I had to live up to them. Because you know you want to please your parents, you want to be like a good daughter, and you want to be like a good like Christian and stuff. So I really did play all those roles, and it just didn't like sit right. And so that's why when I finally did find my voice, it was just like, okay, this is actually who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. And so yeah, to answer your question, I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I say the same thing too. Like my family, they grew up in the church, and like I grew up like going to church like all the time.
Did
but
you go all the time? You went all the time?
all the time. And we were like really big on it. My father was like super big on that. But like I'm just like a natural contrarian, so like I just naturally question things. And at first it was just like, oh, dude, I don't want to go. So then I'm just gonna question everything. But then eventually, like it led to me being like, all right, well, oh man, if my friends don't go to heaven, I don't want to go there. Like, you know. But then it kind of led me to be the person I am, where it's like I I feel like it's a great foundation to develop like morals and stuff like that. But then
Definitely.
but then like it also led me to question everything because like eventually I got to a point where I'm like the pastor was saying some wild stuff, or at least what I thought was
Yeah.
like some crazy shit. So I was like, that doesn't sit
But
right
don't you
with
feel
my
like sometimes
morals.
there's like
Yeah.
parameters to like how you see the world, like in religion?
Yeah.
Because like there's such a specific way of how they feel you ought to be living, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just saying this about like, one religion. I'm just saying like sometimes
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very specific,
There's
like
a
how
set
they,
of
they
standards.
choose,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like a
Oh,
standard
yeah.
or like you can't do certain things. But it's like I'm such an explorative person and I
Yep.
question everything as
Yep.
well. So if you can't quite give me an answer that is like fulfilling,
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably not buy in.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's exactly how it was, and that's why eventually I was just like, I'm not gonna go anymore. But then like it was after my father left the picture, and they weren't already like forcing us to go, but like but yeah, once I became a teenager, like I was just kind of like I think I got what I needed out of this, but I still consider myself very spiritual.
Yeah.
Today, I don't know. Did you grow up with the church or
No.
No?
No, my parents
I can
were
tell.
yeah. I mean, it was like Hmong culture, but at the same time not very like not
Hmong culture, like shaman.
yeah, like shaman, but I mean, but not like I had never seen somebody Waneng until I was like 12, until we moved to the U.S. Like the furthest that I had seen as a kid is like maybe a Kite, in France. So we weren't.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
'cause you're from
yeah.
France,
So
or you
we
grew up
weren't
there.
like really, like not that Hmong either.
Yeah.
Because I grew up like in France, but there's really no Hmong people there. But as I get older and I explore more, like I feel like without saying that I'm going into religion, I feel like as I get older, I can see more reason as to why people would go into religions if they needed the guidance in their own life, or when things. So one thing when I was younger, I was talking to one of my best friend's mom, and she's like, "What do you think happens when you die?" And I was 14, and I was an asshole. So I'm like, "I think you just go to the ground and die, and that's the
Yeah.
end of it." And she was like, "You will think about that question, and you will think differently the day that it pertains to your parents."
Yeah.
And I've thought about that ever since she said that, because it is true. Like when situations get dire, like that is when you're gonna seek something other than
Right.
just your
Yeah.
own belief. Like you're gonna seek something higher power, and that's
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say I'm gonna turn to religion, but I can respect it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like I
definitely.
respect it.
Well, because you want to believe that there's more after
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That you are not
Yeah.
just gonna like live this life
Yeah.
and then just die.
Yeah. So,
And be
so let me
nothing.
ask you guys, because
Yeah.
you guys grew up within a system of church. As you got older and kind of formulated your own way of thinking, do you feel like you're going more against it, or do you feel like you're just going along with it, but just not saying you're part of it?
I would say I go along with it because
Okay.
the morals and values, like I
Yeah.
think it's ingrained
Yeah.
deeply in
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But like there are aspects of it that I like it
Yeah, that
doesn't
you
align
question,
with me.
right.
That I question, and that for those reasons I cannot.
Yeah.
I just.
But you
can't.
can still
Yeah.
ride with it along your path in life.
So only when it applies to me, only
Right.
when it's good.
Right, yeah.
'cause-
No, but-
Selective
I
hearing.
gotta
Yeah.
secure my spot in heaven. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all I'm saying. So yeah.
Yeah.
So-
How about you? Do you feel like it's like you kind of go along with it, and then there's parts that you agree, disagree, kind of like Peng, or do you feel like you kind of
I think
going
I'm like
against
kind of
it?
undeveloped still. I think I'm still really explorative because I actually did take a lot of different religious studies, and I've
Yeah.
learned a lot about like shamanism, obviously, and like Buddhism, and obviously I know a lot about Christian. Like my parents are still very religious. My sister still is very religious too, and I hear a lot from them. Like even when we get together, they'll still pray. And like yesterday, I had a bad nightmare. My mom was just like, so like there's all these things that I'm still like I'm still continuously
Right.
exploring and exposed to, and I think I'm still undeveloped about
Yeah,
it.
but
and
you're
I'm
not
okay.
actively fighting against it.
No,
right?
I'm
Okay.
I'm such an open person about
Okay.
everything. Like
Yeah.
I think as long as, like I said, if there's an answer that is fulfilling, then I will go down
Yeah.
that path. You know,
Sure. Like if it makes sense to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it makes sense or if it connects for me
Yeah.
personally. But I think at this time I don't really have like any real strong opinions about it, but I'm not against it at all.
Okay.
Like I'm very open
Yeah.
to like exploring and learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
like-
just
That sound
always
like-
learning.
Me as a father now, like I'm thinking about joining a congregation just because like there is a lot of social,
Right.
there's a social aspect to it.
because you're
it's
bonding
like a
over
community.
something substantial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like again, like for me, like it was helpful. Like my wife also grew up really like into the church. Like I felt like it secured so much of those like core values that me
Yeah.
and her we align. Like we're completely different people, but in these like
Right.
who like deep
Right.
down like what are
Principles
your
of
beliefs?
life
Yeah,
were
like,
Like your
formulated.
values
based.
line, yeah.
Yep, and that's where we line up,
see
and
that.
and those are the things where it's like it's nice and to have that base or somewhere
Yeah.
to start, and I don't want to make that decision for my daughter to go discover for herself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I want you to grow up in it, and then if you choose to question it, you know, by all means, go for it. And if you want out, you know, but I don't want to rob her of that experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because I am who I am because of it. I
Yeah,
am who
yeah,
I am
yeah.
because I also questioned it.
Well, either way, I think
Yeah.
whichever path you take, she's gonna go against it for a while.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
she'll- and
Oh, I
then,
want-
and then
yeah,
later
yeah,
on
yeah.
she'll be
Oh,
like, "Hey,
I
I
thanks
love
for
that you
doing
want that because
Yeah.
like I think it's important that you're challenged always too, because how are you gonna grow?
Yeah.
Like I think if you are always just set on one, not you personally, but like if people are just like set on one way of thinking
Yeah.
or a singular lens,
Yeah.
I think it's hard. Like I want to be challenged.
Yeah.
I genuinely like I seek discomfort
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
like for a living.
Yep.
I don't know if that's like always super healthy, but for me, I love it. Like
Yeah.
if I get really like today was my last day at my job.
Yeah.
This is the career that I went to school for.
Yep.
This is a career that I've been in for quite a long time. And not that I'm like outgrown it, but I feel like it doesn't fulfill me or fill my cup the same way that it used to, right?
Yeah.
So I think and I love my city. I like run my city in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
I lead my city in so
Yeah.
many different aspects. And so most people will be like, well, you have a really good job. It's
Yeah.
stable. You get paid well. Your city loves you. You love your city and you give back and they like support you, right?
Yeah.
Why would you leave? Well, for me, I'm seeking discomfort because I want to grow.
Can we tell the listeners where your job was?
Yeah,
Just
I was
that-
a
so that
social
they know?
worker.
Okay, a
Yeah.
social worker in the
I'm-
city of
I
Wausau, right?
Oh, that's so crazy.
But I think even
Yeah, social
more than
worker.
that, like just following you like for the past like year, like you definitely ran
Wait, were
that.
you stalking me? I'm just kidding.
Oh, of course,
kidding.
of course.
He
Come on,
low-key
Thank you.
was. Hey, we all low key
I mean,
are
I-
following somebody.
Yeah, I'm your biggest fan. I'll admit that. But yeah, like just seeing your poses, like you were definitely like the mayor out there. Like you, I think you.
It's
you
so
did- you
funny
were
because
doing
they
so
always
many
said like
great
I should
things
just
out
be the
there.
mayor,
Yeah.
but I'm not. Like
So why not just like
stay.
yeah,
Because I think that at least in this season, this next season of my life, I already planned this. Like I knew I was thriving. I knew I was doing really well.
Yeah.
I planned this year to be my year of truth and transformation. Like
That's awesome.
if nobody's gonna challenge, like okay, so if not now, when?
Yep.
And if not me, who? Who's gonna
Right.
do it for me? Nobody. So I could just stay there. And like I looked at a lot of people that stayed in that position or stayed in like, Eau Claire, and they're not like unhappy. They're happy. Like it's the same thing that they're doing and they like that. Like they like that comfort, right?
Yeah.
I'm just built differently, I think.
Yeah.
I just want to go where I kind of just want to go where I know that I will be challenged to like the most emotionally, like physically, spiritually, like all these things that I'm taking on is really just to continue to grow and learn about myself and
Yeah.
see how like much I can push myself.
Right.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
love that because like that's a big theme of our podcast, right? Putting ourselves in uncomfortable
I mean, you both
positions.
did the same
Yeah.
thing, right? Like you left a really comfortable career that paid you really well,
Yeah,
that
pretty
like
well.
you were really good at.
Yeah.
There were downsides. I mean, I've watched this, or we've talked also, but you left it to do something that you love, even though it doesn't give you the same financial benefits or
Yeah.
what have
Yeah.
you, right?
Yep.
You did that, and you did the same.
Yeah. Doing
so
it,
like,
yeah, yeah.
But
what's
he
your-
still has a
Yeah.
job.
I still have a job.
no, but
But-
that's
but he's
okay.
leading-
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
yeah.
gonna seek
Yeah.
a job
Yeah,
too.
but he's
sure.
leading. But he's
Yeah.
but like we always talk about it too. Like he is. I can see that he's leaning towards that, right?
Yeah.
And I always told him it's like, yeah, you should absolutely do that, but real world, like, yo, make some money, save some money, like you
Yeah.
gotta
Well,
do
and then
it.
you have families too, right? Like I only
Yeah.
have me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anybody else that I need to really worry about. So it makes sense like why you would still do that. But
Right.
like what was your why? Like why would
Yeah.
you do something like that when you were so not like maybe comfortable, but you were probably doing like you were known
It's
to
the
be
same
this
thing,
person.
It's the same thing
right?
as you. It's just challenging, and everybody's different. Yeah, everybody's different, but it's the same thing as what you said. It's just challenge. It's just seeing how far you can go, seeing how you thrive, being uncomfortable. Find. It's for me. It's just finding out more about like yourself. Like, what are you truly made out of? You know,
Right.
like can you
It's cool.
can you
You
bounce?
level
can
up.
you yeah? Can you exactly level up? Can you take on more? Because a lot of times you can. It's just that comfort is so comforting
Yeah.
that most
Yeah.
people don't want to do it. And in the same token, I want to say to the people who are comfortable doing what they do that's totally
fine
cool.
too.
Yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
cool. It's just for my personality. That's not where I'm at now. Are there days that I wake up and I'm like, shit, I would love a nice paycheck again.
It'd be
Yeah.
nice to do it 9 to 5
Absolutely,
today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always think back that our parents, for me at least, this is just from my opinion, is our parents have taken so much sacrifice to come here, to do all kinds of crazy things to like get us to where we are. That if I feel like if I didn't try to push myself to the maximum,
Right.
then
What's
then,
it all for?
Then yeah, I'd be wasting the opportunity that was given to me.
Yeah,
Right,
that's how I
that's-
feel.
Yeah,
100%.
That's beautiful because like I think family is big because like for me like I did it for my daughters because like
Yeah.
essentially I was like doing a job like that I didn't really care about. I kind of hated, and then I was miserable. And like I couldn't be authentic with her because I couldn't tell her to go follow her dreams, do what she
Yeah.
wants, create her
Right.
own path if I didn't do the same, right? And so that's why I did it.
Yeah.
But like I can't imagine like, like not having like a family because like if I didn't have my daughters, I'd probably still just fucking be taking it in the ass like in the office,
Yeah.
right, somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But like so like props to you. And can you talk about like what you're doing here or like what
Yeah,
your
what's
plans
the-
are?
what's the-
Like,
yeah, what's
so
I
the
what's
have
the
no
next
idea,
step?
guys.
Really? So like even,
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
I was gonna give you even more props because like that's even more brave. Brave or stupid, but
Yeah, it's probably both.
One,
Stupid
one
is
in the
brave.
same. Yeah, one
Yeah.
in the same. One in the same.
I mean, I think like like I think you and I had this conversation too, but I don't think anyone really knows
Yeah.
what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
I think they
100%.
have an idea of what they may want to achieve, but they don't always know the exact steps, right? Like they're kind of just feeling it out. For me right now, I left something super comfortable. Something actually wasn't even comfortable. I was freaking happy there. Actually,
Yeah.
I did really well in my role, and I loved my coworkers, my boss. The work environment was so healthy. It was probably the best employer I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I left it because for me, I believe in myself, and I have like a higher faith that I can achieve more.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing for the next few months is I'm a producer. So I actually am producing a lot of fashion
Okay,
shows
hell
right
yeah.
now. Like I'm historically like known to do more music and festivals. Like I just did Monk Fest. Like that was
Yeah,
something I founded.
Was that Eau Claire?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yep.
That was a
Oak Hill
hit.
Monk Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a
we
hit.
That was
raised
a
over
hit.
600,000. I shouldn't raise. We didn't raise it. We earned over $600,000 for our city.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we're gonna continue that every
That's
single year, and I'll
awesome.
still be tied to that because that's my baby. Like,
Yeah.
So
that's
nobody
my
else in Eau
baby.
Claire through all these years ever thought they should organize something for the Hmong community over there?
Yeah.
I think that like we all had a shared vision, like we all wanted it, right? But like I'm a doer.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody
yeah,
had to
yeah.
lead the march.
I'm a mover
Yeah.
shaker. Like,
Yeah.
like I think it's really great that like I love the planning stages of things. I love all the details. That's what makes me a really I think I'm a really good producer.
Right.
I think about like it as a vision, right? But then like, okay, how are you going to actually achieve this vision? You have to break it down into details and steps, and who are you going to bring in? And I
Right.
just happen to have like the best networks that I've built, like relationships that I've built that I said, I know this person can do this, this person can do this. So it wasn't like a one-man team at all. It was just an idea that I had, brought it to city council. They brought in the right partners, and we achieved that. So historically, I've done more music festivals or events and things like that, but I'm working more into fashion right now.
Yeah.
And so for the next few months, I will be producing more fashion shows. I'm going to New York Fashion Week, which is
Hell yeah.
Nice.
really crazy. Like I never thought I would be able to do something like that in my lifetime. Like, you just see that on TV.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like to know that you can do that and achieve that because you thought last year that like I'm just gonna try something new. Like for me, I believe you have 24 hours, right? In your 24 hours, all the little decisions you make, all the people, like me sitting here with you guys, that's probably going to lead us into something else. Like
Yeah.
it's sowing seeds every day, but planting seeds every day
Right.
too.
Right.
Like that's how I spend my 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm very, very intentional. Like time and energy is my currency.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Like that is how I spend it. So like I could die next week, but I know I did everything I could to fulfill
Right.
my life. So that's kind of like my philosophy on things. But yeah, going back to what I'm doing, that's what I'm working on is building my business and building my brand out here. But at the end of the day, it's really like trying to build community. I'm just such a people person, and I already have like so many people that reached out to me wanting to learn more about me and me wanting to learn more about them as a person and their org. And so I'm just out here trying to build better unified community that I've done already in Eau Claire. So
That's
where
fucking
I'm
awesome,
at.
man.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I'm scared as shit, but I'm super excited too.
I mean, but you have to be scared, right? When you're making a
That's how
move
you
like
know
that. Yeah.
you're on the right path is when you're scared.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. If
Because
you're
like
not scared, then it's easy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, because like when making that move now, like I'm still like, dude, I'm still scared now, like, because this at any point could flop, you know, and so like I worry about that all the time, and that's why like sorry, but strategically, you know, I wanted to connect with you a little bit closer and just connect and surround myself with people that's already doing it,
should.
right? And just kind of pick their brains a little bit, and that's why like this pod was like really big for me too, where I was just like, all right, I'm going to spend this time with Tu. I'm going to pick his brains and try to learn as much as I can from him. Sorry, selfishly.
No, but-
But it's not selfish
Yeah,
though.
but I think we all have to have some selfish, in a way, right? You have to have some. If you don't have any, then you're not gonna learn. Like you have to want to grow personally
Right.
for
Yeah.
yourself. So that is selfish.
Yeah.
But it's self-investment.
But
in
people,
my
but people are
opinion.
different.
Yeah.
They're selfish to take advantage of, and then they're
Right.
selfish to enrich and be wiser, have a broader perspective,
you're
and then
contributing
pass it
also.
back. Yeah, and then pass
Yeah.
it back into the
Right.
society. So, I mean, it's the same thing. When I do podcasts, is same thing. There's a selfish aspect of it where I want to engage with a lot of people that maybe I really hope that our thing hits like
Like, we can
crazy,
level
so
up
that we
each
have,
other and
so that
elevate
we
each
can
other,
have
yeah.
more conversation with more people to learn. And sometimes it hits, and sometimes it doesn't hit, and sometimes you do it just strategically as like strictly business, and sometimes you do it because it's organic. I try to prefer to do it when it's organic.
Yeah. I'm huge over I'm relationships over transactions,
Yeah.
but I'm the same way.
There's sometimes
You
you
should
do both,
absolutely
yeah.
surround yourself with people who are like you. Like
Yeah.
that's I think in like I just posted about this, but it matters so much who you surround yourself with. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who don't fully understand your values or like see what you're trying to build, like it's really hard because then like that's kind of they're not helping level you up and you're not helping really level them up fully, like because they're not really on the same page.
Yeah.
You need to be around the best people who's going to promote like your very best.
That's it, man. I'm cutting these fuckers off.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
us? You
No,
want us
no,
to
no,
leave?
no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
kidding. No, but it's true though. If you have, I am so huge on following energy. If you have
Yeah.
people who are draining you, or not that they're like toxic themselves, but like they're not like really providing you with what you're needing in this stage in your life, like it's okay to take
Right.
a step back. It's okay to like say like, hey, right now is not a good time for our friendship, relationship, whatever. It doesn't matter
Right.
if they're friends or family.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But then if you are around people who match your energy,
Yeah.
you will level up and
Yeah.
you will do better because they want the best out of you.
Right.
And that's what I'm very fortunate I have here already
Yeah.
with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
thank
I
you.
definitely have
Yeah.
these people in this city already that is like that, who gets where I'm coming from, who
Yeah.
wants to like provide me opportunities. I'm providing them opportunities, and we're genuinely friends and we're genuinely connected. And
Yeah.
it matters a lot. Your circle,
Yeah.
like 100% matters.
Yeah. And I'm sorry too. I should say I do also like
You
you.
did-
I mean, this isn't just a transactional
we-
relationship. I do like you too.
We
You're a
were
good guy.
friends
Yeah,
long
yeah,
before
yeah.
you met me
Yeah.
originally before
Yeah.
I
Actually,
did
too-
anything. So, or not that I've even done anything, but yeah, much before that.
Yeah.
That was like 2010
Yeah.
when we were like 21.
Yeah.
So-
Just kids. Just itty bitty kitties.
Oh, and you just turned
Whatever.
35. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah. How does it
Yes.
feel? Feels amazing.
It feels like. Part of me feels like I've done a lot of things to get here.
Yeah.
Like living in 2 different countries,
You live so many
like
lives.
2
in my
different
opinion.
countries, multiple careers, military, fire, all those things. but then part of me feels like part of me right now feels like I am when you start like freshman year of college
Yeah.
and you don't know what you're doing and you're like, oh fuck, it's about to get scary.
Yeah.
Or it might be like really like you might thrive or you might sink here at this point. But
But you don't know, and that's why you do it.
yeah, I
anyway.
mean, I'm not too afraid, I guess.
Yeah, because
I've
you've
built
done it.
enough
You've done
experience.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've done it
Well,
hundreds
that's
of times before.
and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like something that like you were talking about. It's nice to just like achieving different things. It's not just to like say I've achieved things,
Right.
But it's just to know that like you can figure out how to succeed in whatever you set your mind to.
Right.
Then it's like the world. It seems like a lot less of a fearful place.
Yeah.
I think the world can be a pretty scary place. But
Yeah.
if you've tackled things and then most of the time you come out on top of like the goal or you accomplish the goal, then you're kind of
Just
like,
a
hey,
couple cuts and bruises,
yeah,
but you're okay.
Yeah, but then you also get used to the cuts and bruises, and
Yeah.
so that's nice too. To be like, yeah, you're gonna hit some bumpy roads, but that's part of it.
That's
like
part of the process.
That's part of it.
Genuinely. And if we fail, right? Let's say
Yeah.
all three of us fail next week. Whatever, we can always go back to doing what we were doing before.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. That's how I
I mean,
feel.
it's America. You can do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's America.
It's
Yeah.
life. You can do anything.
You can do anything. My uncle once said to me,
I have to.
yeah, my uncle said, well, look, but if I have two daughters, like
Yeah.
if I was
Yeah.
in your position,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It'd be a lot different story. I don't even think I would have left my fire job if
Yeah.
I had two daughters.
Yeah.
I probably would have actually, what I did is I probably would have stopped doing this
Yeah.
and I would have just stayed strictly a fireman because firemen still gave me 20 days off a month as
Yeah.
a full-timer. So
Yeah, I think
You
about
know?
that every day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
question myself all the time, like, dang, did I make the right choice? Because it's like, I'm not only am I doing this for myself, but like I'm putting my family through a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Not only is it stressful.
Well,
for me,
yeah, so
but-
now you have
Well,
more
you're tethered
motivation.
together. That's
Yeah.
what's different
Yeah.
about like our situations
Yeah.
for
now
sure.
you have to succeed.
Well,
you don't have
even
any
my
other
wife,
choice.
Like, my wife would tell me every once in a while, she's like, yeah, dang, like, why can't you just be happy paying like with the job? I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I wish I could have just been cool with
Yeah,
the
but
9 to
everybody's
5.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's
But
just
I-
different.
yeah. I'm
Everyone's
not
got
programmed
different
that way.
risk tolerances and stuff. Like even my risk tolerance, I think, is not that high, you know, compared to like
Yeah.
some people are like, oh yeah, you've gone into fires, blah blah. Like, yeah, that's my type of risk. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to like push myself, get that adrenaline
Yeah.
going. I'm not afraid of that. But if you told me to go borrow $10 million, I'd be like, yo, I like that's not really like, you know, I'd be more scared of that.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
tell me to go run into a burning house on fire, I'd be like, yeah, let's fucking
Yeah.
go, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody's got different risk
Yeah,
tolerances.
people are just different.
Yeah. So New York Fashion Week. So how did you? Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all's are coming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
are you going there just to be a guest?
I'm
and part of it?
producing the show.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So I am one of three. So it's Boss Hmong Women running this,
Hell yeah.
first of all.
Nice.
Hell
Mao
yeah.
and Mary running this shit. So they run Coalesce, MN. So the founder is Mao. And so they're part of Fashion Week MN, Fashion Week Minnesota as
Yeah.
well. And it seems shallow, right? When you think of fashion and models and stuff, it's not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of depth. Like a lot of the designers care so much about what their mission is.
Yeah.
So for example, like one of the designers that cares so much about like sustainability in clothing, like they'll go back to shopping at their stores and then repurposing the clothing
Right.
so that because a lot of that clothing, especially when it's like merch that's made by artists and things, it goes into landfills in black and brown countries. So
Yeah.
it's stuff like that I'm bought in to. Like, I mean, I'm not a fashionable person, but I'm a very passionate person. And I just love like seeing how people create, like from hair to makeup and like just talking to designers, how they come up with their vision for clothing and what materials they use and how they choose to sew it together. Like that stuff is so creative. Because again, I like learning, I like picking people's brains.
Yeah.
So I kind of got into it because my girlfriend, Bao, who I'm seeing tonight, she is one of the main makeup artists for past shows, and she brought me in just like as an influencer, just
Yeah.
to create content. And from there, like I said, you know, I'm actually more interested in like producing because I love like when I go into events, I think about, ooh, they must have thought about this, this, and that. Like, how do they organize this? How do they get sponsorships for that? Like, why did they think about this venue versus another venue? Like, I think about all those things. That's how my brain works. But I was introduced to the fashion world last year.
Yeah.
So then they brought me back on because I like doing it, and I guess they like me. I guess I'm good enough jokes that Like,
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
enough to hang out. But yeah, New York Fashion Week. I'm excited.
Well, sometimes like that's all it really is. Like even, that's like my life hack that I figured out. Like in the corporate world, sometimes it's just about being a good hang, like
Yeah.
just about being able to negotiate like social like environments, right, and kind of navigate that.
Yeah.
And like through that, like you can like take things so far. I think for me personally, I got to a point where I was just like, oh shit, I don't know if I should be here. And then I felt inauthentic, and then that's why I was like, oh, and I don't know if I really.
I still feel like an imposter in a lot
Yeah.
of these spaces, but you're right. Like it is relationship building and
Yeah.
connection. Because like even though you may have somebody who has the best resume, has the best
Yes.
like experiences with something, if that person doesn't click with you like personality wise,
Yeah.
then it's hard to work with them. You would rather choose somebody who's maybe up and coming but gets your vision too. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. It's relationship building.
Oh, for sure.
So.
So New York Fashion Week. What else you got going on here in Minnesota? Because like that's a big
yeah.
transition.
It
Yeah,
is. It's a
yeah.
huge
Yeah.
transition. Like I think about I was telling my coworkers today, like they're asking me all the things that I'm working on, and they're like, "That is so different from social work." I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? It really is such a different world, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of the same.
Yeah.
Because you're really just helping elevate
you're-
people. You're really just
Right.
connecting with people. You are really just building community and togetherness.
Yeah.
And although it doesn't look the same, because I'm not sitting at my computer for 8 hours typing
Yeah.
up CPS reports and taking egregious calls and
Yeah.
child maltreatment, but you're in another space where you're like, okay, you're supporting people who are wanting to change legislation, even
Right.
through design, even through activism. You are still supporting like different ways where they want to uplift the community,
Yeah.
and it's similar.
Are you-
Like,
Are you just a freelancing contractor then at this time?
Yeah, so I
And-
am-
And that's your intention to just do that for as long as it runs
so
its
I have
course?
a 2-month plan.
Okay.
I have a 2-month plan. I saved up money for a 2-month plan.
Yeah.
And so I'm booked for the next 2 months, but then I do know that I'll probably have to look at securing something. So I guess I won't say like where I'm interviewing,
right,
but
right.
it's going to be very similar
Yeah.
to what I'm doing. And I don't know. I'm kind of just winging it, guys.
I
Yeah.
love that though.
I'm winging
No,
it.
it's
Like
good.
to leave something so secure that like this is the thing. You can have a fixed mindset where you know exactly what you're going to get paid for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Or you can make 4 times the amount like I did in a month, where it's like I didn't realize I was going to get all these opportunities, but
Yeah.
I grinded for it.
Yeah.
And I made 4 times the amount of what I made at my social work job. And that really like propelled me into saying like, you can do this. Like
Right.
you can stay and spend your time again, which is my currency, time and energy, doing something that it's fixed, or you can have a really big growth mindset and
Yeah.
an abundance mindset where it's like, you can make anything happen. Yeah, you'll probably fail. Like I didn't make anything for the month of June because I was so focused on
Yeah.
Hmong Fest, right? But then now it's like, okay, well, for the month of July, the month of August, the month of September, what's your day going to look like and how are you going to grind for that? Because then you go from 9 to 5 to 24/7.
Yeah. And then like even just seeing that or having that vision is so hard sometimes, because like
Yeah.
even for me, like sometimes like my wife loves me and supports me, but then I'll have a week where I only sell 1 lip balm.
Yeah.
And then like the numbers don't make sense, and it's kind of like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then it's hard for me to just
Well, how do you
keep grinding.
Yeah, it's hard.
And so
because it feels discouraging, right?
yeah. Because I want to optimistically think about this and want to think that I'm going to do well, but I mean, could be very real that like I end up fucking homeless or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to be able to
Yeah.
accept that up. That's a very realistic option too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think about all that. Like there's like a Marcus Aurelius quote where
Yeah.
you should always envision like your worst days, right? So like that is very much possible. The whole goal is just
Yeah.
to not let it get there.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I think about that all the time. I'm like, shit, I could flop completely too, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
but how do I not let it get there?
Yeah.
You have to have
that's the
multiple
fight.
backup plans too.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get what you're saying. And by the way, thank you so much. You've been such a big supporter of all of like what I'm doing.
No,
like just
I
the way
love
that you
it.
like donated to our queer youth event, like that was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you very much just like as a person. But yeah, you don't know what you're gonna do. And that's kind of like the scariest thing about it, but also the most exciting thing, because you could produce like just one sale this week, or you could produce like a lot of sales next week.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's hard because it's part of that risk, but it's also part of that reward, because next week you could do really, really, really freaking well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no cap to that. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what I'm looking at, right? That there is no cap to this, right? Whereas at my old job, there was a cap for it.
Exactly.
I knew
Yeah.
exactly
It's
what
fixed.
I was going to make
Yep.
next year and the year after
The
that.
next 50 years.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if it's going to be like a wage adjustment, sure, you'll get maybe like 50 cents or a dollar or
Yeah.
whatever, but you're never going to get $30 extra next year,
Yeah.
an hour. Like
Well,
you just won't, you know?
And that, like, I hear so many people our age like talk about that. Like, I have a close friend, you know, but you know, he's like, yeah, I've been here for 8 years since college. I've gotten one raise, yada yada, and then he keeps talking about like, oh, I'm gonna get this raise, I'm gonna get this thing, and then like it never pans out. But it's kind of like, oh, dude, like, I don't. Like that's a sucky world to be in, where you're
Yeah.
depending on
Someone else.
someone else.
Well,
you
because
know?
like, yeah, you're depending on somebody else to be in charge of, sorry, I
Yeah.
keep like messing up your chair, in charge of your income,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like, it is hard because like, you know, I could just in 3 months be like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's okay. If I can't make it in 3 months, like
Yeah.
I can always go back and revert to what I've always done, because I have that degree.
Right.
There's job opportunities everywhere. You can always go back to
Yeah.
doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with that as well. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes that is more stable, and maybe sometimes that gives you more peace of mind, and you
Yeah.
can just stay there. For me, I think in this time in my life, I kind of want to risk it and
Yeah.
try it
Yeah.
out.
No, I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
somebody, yeah.
You're don't have children, right?
No.
Okay, and you're not married, right?
Not married.
So
I'm
you
not
have
married
You're
anymore.
in a perfect spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An age of energy.
And I'm turning
focus.
35 in September too.
Oh,
so.
nice. Yeah, no, I think there's a time, like, because this is something I considered highly when I was going to leave firefighting, is I had to look at, like, how old am I right now? How much mental focus and just pure sheer energy do I have?
Yes.
And I knew that 30s is where it's at. Like, if you don't do
Yeah.
it right now, you could do it at 40. People do it at 40. I mean, Sam Walton
You can
did
do it
open Walmart till he was
anytime,
like
right?
70.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but naturally, you also have to be honest about your physiological state of mind where you are
Mm-hmm.
at a certain age. And I just knew like 30 is the time to make this shit happen. Like it's either
Yeah.
now, and I don't have kids, right? So it's like it's now, because later I'm gonna start thinking about safety more. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start thinking more safety nets for my family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think you're at a good. I mean, clearly you have energy.
Yeah. And I love that.
But that's
I love
good.
That's the first thing I
It's all
noticed.
because of this.
Yeah.
'Cause I was
Yeah.
so low energy until I got here.
Well, like I first saw you on Yia's podcast,
Yeah.
Munglish podcast.
Oh yeah,
And
I think it's the first place.
That's how I saw you too.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
first
And I
place
was just
saw
like,
you.
this girl's energy is freaking crazy. Like, I believe I shot you a message like that night, like when I first heard it. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I love that. And then I knew we were starting to create our own
Shout out to
thing.
Yeah, he's amazing. too.
Yeah.
He's a good friend.
Yeah. You know what? I wish you'd get, have
Yeah,
me
get
on.
it.
But no, I'm just kidding.
Get Ping on your
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm just kidding. Nah, I ain't, I'm not there yet. But you guys are doing awesome. Let's move on to.
Let me ask you one thing quick.
Yeah.
Is it tiring?
Of course it's tiring.
Yeah. So
It's so tiring.
So are you good at balancing yourself and when you're tired?
Yeah.
Because I think great. Some people, you have energy for like days. I mean, I'm kind of that way too.
Oh my God, I
but
get so
sometimes I burn
tired.
myself out too. So, like, what do you do when you feel that you're getting to a burnout point and you have a lot going on?
Like
and
even
you-
this week, right? Like I was here all last weekend, and it was like show after show, activity after activity, and like you don't even have time to think. You're just doing.
Yeah.
And then you meet all these people, and it's like, your social, even though I have such a strong social battery, like
Yeah.
it dies.
Right.
So all of this week, I did nothing
Okay.
but take care of myself.
Okay.
It is about balance, and it goes in waves, because sometimes you do deplete yourself, and you're like, oh my God, like I already promised this, I gotta follow through. I'm huge on like, if I promised it, I'm gonna
Right.
follow through.
Yeah.
So even when you are so exhausted, I'm like, I still will do it. But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to cancel this, this, and this, though. So I can have 3 days of nothingness in the dark, or I'm just doing nothing but play gardenscapes.
Yeah.
Like, So it is about balance
For
too,
sure.
because you do need to like rejuvenate yourself so that you can be your very best. Because if you're not, like, your brain's all wonky.
Yep.
Like earlier this week, I was just like not even in a place where I could function because I was so physically and emotionally like depleted. And so you do absolutely need to take care of yourself, and you need to have a plan for that too.
Yeah.
And my plan looks differently each time. Sometimes it's really being around friends that are healing. So even though my social battery is so low, like, they're not draining my social battery,
Right.
they're providing me extra like energy,
Yeah.
you know? And then sometimes it's just me by myself. Sometimes it's just me being around my kiddos. I don't have kids, but my nieces and nephews, like my kiddos. Or sometimes it's just like being like alone, where I'm off social media and I'm literally just meditating and doing nothing but like feeling my feels. So it's just whatever works for you and how that plays
Yeah.
out, I guess. But
No,
it matters.
Yeah, I mean, the
you
reason
should plan
Yeah.
for that.
the reason I ask is because since the beginning of the conversation, the energy has been very, very like you're go go go, right?
I
But
am.
but I also asked that because there's parts of me where I can't. I'm like that too. But I also know where it wears me out. Like, I also realize that it tires me out, and I think I want to talk about it because I think that people need some. I want it to be heard that everybody's just a human being who gets tired as well, and
Yeah.
it's something that you have to
Right.
think about.
Yes.
It's something you have to think about, and then you have to talk about, because I hate when you see people who seem to do well and they don't talk about the
Like when
downside
they're
of that.
struggling.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's important to talk about it because
'Cause that's
I
real
always feel
life.
like I want to. It's real
Yeah.
life, and
Yeah.
I want to always hear that part from people because that's where I learn the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody can be successful, and that's all we hear on TV. But I'm never interested by that. I mean, I am interested by that when I'm in
But
the
it's
mood.
like almost like not real sometimes.
Yeah. I want to hear
Yeah.
like, where do you struggle? Because that's
Yeah.
because I just want to. Maybe it's to selfishly feel normal about myself that
Right.
okay, we all get tired. Good,
Yeah.
but it needs to be talked about, because, and I just want to highlight it because this conversation has been very, very, really like go go go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring it down a notch and
No,
just
and I
like,
think
let's
that's
talk
real
about the
too.
downside
Like, I was
of
just
it.
texting you. Like, I mean, I think even just my social media post this week was like, I'm struggling too. You know, like
Yeah.
there is a duality to like,
Yeah.
you can have all this energy, but then you're also so
Yeah.
drained. You can know that you're on the right path, but then feel like, I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
I'm doing. Like, there's all of these things to there's nuances
Yep.
to it, right? Like, I'm sure we all feel that. Like, you know you're on the right path, but then you're also like, not sure if you are. So I definitely am high energy, but I'm also like tired too. And so like this week was incredibly tough for me actually. Like this week processing through everything, like, I'm grieving like 3 big things right now in
Right.
my life, like big changes in my life. And it took so much out of me. Like it took so much out of me this week. But again, I think I just learned how to take care of myself. And like, I really have learned just like how to cope through hard times. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to feel your feels even when it sucks.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm learning
Yeah.
how to do that now, just because like my downtime was always like self-destructive, and so it was always like boozing hard. That's like my.
But
That's
that's the weird thing
Yeah.
about you though, because you were a bodybuilder, bro,
Yeah.
for like so many years.
Yeah.
Maybe you just gotta go back to the gym, dude.
Yeah, like because I go hard, and then it's like my downtime is like, all right, my downtime is just as hard. I
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
down, probably
Yeah.
more like, deep.
It's hard to figure out what you got to do
yeah,
on your
yeah.
downtime, especially
Yeah.
especially if like you said you've already committed to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already committed to a lot of things and you are a person of your word, then it's like sometimes you forget that to even take the time, or you don't forget, but you don't have the time. Like you
Yeah.
literally don't have the time to take the time, even though you need
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And then you are, and especially if you're a person who's really like, I'm a person of my word and I'm gonna get after it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just keep stretching it, and that's kind of where this is not
Like
a
where
big
you
huge
die.
therapy session. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm
Yeah.
stretching it out.
Yeah.
I've been stretching it out, so I
Yeah.
cannot.
But that's why I
wait
say like you
to
are a
chill.
person of your word, but there are certain things that you can cancel.
Yeah.
Like where it doesn't impact the other person, where you can like
Yeah.
okay, you say you're gonna go to an event,
right.
you don't need
Right.
to
It's
go
not
if it's not gonna
yeah,
impact
it's
them.
not a huge
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
But
so-
I don't know. I need to find my disconnect. I think
Yeah.
I'm due for it, but my disconnect is like I need to get out of the country. I need to go
Okay,
somewhere
go.
That's so
else.
hard. Like
I can't right now.
That
is so
We're at
hard.
a growth stage right
Yeah,
now.
true,
We're at like
true.
maximum growth stage.
Yeah, that is so hard too. It's just, and like I'm just like a natural like people pleaser, so like I want to like do things for people. I end up volunteering myself to like do shit that like I kind of don't care about, or like things that I really don't have the mental
Yeah.
capacity
Yeah, yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
and then it ends up just draining me down
Yeah.
even more. So
That
Yeah.
happens
but
too.
it's
That happens
I
to
don't know.
me.
Yeah,
So like
me
I'm
too.
learning to find that balance now, like especially now, like you know, I have like a recurrent thing in my life is like I always like tend to shoot myself in the foot when things go well, and so now I'm like because the stakes are so high. I have children and I have a mortgage and yada yada and a business to run.
Yeah.
Like I cannot fuck this up anymore.
Yeah.
So
For real.
yeah. But okay, so moving on. So we created a new segment, and we have a little bit of time left, so we'll just go through this really quickly here.
Okay.
So the new segment is: are you familiar with the Hmong Anonymous page
No.
on Facebook?
No.
Okay, so
Bunch of-
basically, people just post anonymously about like, I guess maybe their darkest, deepest secrets or something that
Okay.
that's on their
Something
mind.
they're going
and so
through.
we
Okay.
kind of read it, and then we just kind of react to it, or at times we sometimes give this person advice if they're looking for it, or we just we just react to it.
Okay.
But can I have you read it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You know
show
what
me
I
one that's
realized?
not as
Like,
crazy long, please.
yeah. You know what I realized? Like, I when we did this the first time, I read it, and like it was like 10 minutes of me like
Is this like
mumbling and stumbling
tea,
over.
or is it really just like advice type of thing?
It's a little
So
bit.
first of all,
both.
we don't know if these stories are even
Yeah.
real.
Right.
But
Could
we
be
just
anyone
like-
writing it.
Yes,
right?
but we just like to
You're really
talk
not.
about the topic of what's being addressed, and then like maybe how we would overcome it, and just kind of
Okay.
chat it out.
I'm down.
You're really not familiar with the.
No.
Really, it's like.
I wanted to make you guys play the Sheng game, but we'll save that
Okay.
for a
The
different day.
Shane game.
I make everybody play that.
There we go. All right, 2 paragraphs.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, after a long 15 years of marriage, then divorce, your once mother-in-law demands her stuff back that she gifted for you. For instance, gold Hmong earrings and pieces of Hmong clothes. She says to you, she do not want you to keep any of her gifts that she gifted you because you're gone. Would you be sad and offended? It reminds me of a boyfriend and girlfriend gifting things to where you ask for your stuff back when you're not together anymore. I think she was rude about it, and she should have never gifted anything in the first place. Is this a common thing in the Hmong culture? Am I just overthinking this? Yes, you are.
Yeah,
I think
gifts.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's never happened to me. Has it happened to me before where someone asked for their shit back?
It's happened to me.
I would openly give your shit back if you want
Yeah.
your shit back.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, what
Just give
what
it.
do you tie with that now? You know, like if things are, if you're disconnected with that family or that part of your life, like I'm fine to just. I don't
Yeah.
tie.
And-
I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of meaning with material
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just give it back.
But some
Yeah.
people do want to hold on to shit though. Like, hey, you give it to me, so it's mine. You know, like
Okay, but
there's
is that like is that really about the material thing, or is it like ego or something
Well,
else?
I think
I
it's
don't
probably
know.
a little bit of ego. It's just about like disrespecting you too. I think
Sure.
there's some of that. Too.
Yeah, just
I don't know if
yeah,
you ask
just
for it
just
back,
to
I'm
play
gonna give it
devil's
back.
advocate, I'm gonna be like out of spite. Hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, I
like,
would
hell
too
no.
if I truly
Yeah.
didn't like you no
Yeah.
more. I'd be like, yo, you gave me this shit, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you can't have it back no more. But
I guess how much were they? Just kidding.
Yeah, that's true. Can I
I'll
pause?
resell that
Can I
shit.
pause?
like, yo, I
this?
need that car back.
Yeah.
No, I need that to go to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. But anyway, so we're
Yes.
coming up on like our hour. But anyway,
That was kind of a lame one. Usually they're a little bit better.
No,
but,
that was
yeah.
good. I see where we all stand.
Yeah, we're coming up on an hour, but so we usually just wrap it up near the hour mark. But before we go, we always want, me and Peng always talk about just like how grateful we are that people actually take their valued time to like come and just chat with us about a lot of times a bunch of freaking nothing. A lot of times about you because we want to find out about you, and we want people who are listening to us to find out about who you are too. Because usually when people come here, they have a mission, they have something that they're trying to push, or there's something that they're trying to get their word out about, and sometimes they do, and sometimes we just have conversations. So either one is fine. We appreciate just the time that is so valued that we don't have enough of. That you guys come and chat with us. But the last thing is I always ask our guests is just if people want to know more about either you or the things that you're currently like actively doing, where can they do that? Where do they find you? Whether it be business pages or personal pages, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on social media, but like, I guess you can follow my personal page, which is Sheng Elizabeth Lor on Facebook, or the Social X Change Project, so Social Exchange Project on Facebook or Instagram. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, y'all heard her.
Awesome.
You can follow her there. Yeah, I don't have anything else. But
Yeah.
just thank you for your
Thank you
time.
both for
Thank you
having
for
me.
the
Yeah,
hour.
for real,
Yeah.
thank you, because you had a big day, last day at your job, moving
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You two
into
are the first
city.
people
It is
I've
a
seen
big-
afterwards.
Man,
It is a big
So-
day. I
Big deal.
forget that
We're
this was
honored.
your last day at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big day. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Well,
both so
we'll
much.
I'll be tuning in to see what is next in
Hell
your
yeah.
path.
I'm sure I'll be posting. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for
All right.
listening. Till
Thank
next time.
you.
Yep.